Hi guys, Leah here. I wanted to do a video of some of the books that I've been reading lately because I have been going crazy this year on the reading. Feel free to add me on Goodreads. My link will be in the description bar. And I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about the books that I've been reading lately. The most recent book that I've been reading is by Tony Robbins, and it's called Money Master the Game: 7 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom. And that's what it looks like. Monkey, move. Okay, my cat might be in the video, so just don't mind her. So, okay, so this book is about basically oh my gosh, monkey! So Tony Robbins basically interviewed a whole bunch of rich people in America, and he came to the conclusion of certain facts that will help you with dealing and managing and organizing your money. Oh my god, now she's playing with the strap. Okay, the strap of my camera. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the book was really insightful. I really enjoyed it, but I found that maybe like a quarter of the book was just about Tony Robbins being like, oh, you know, I donate to this charity and I donate to this charity, and you know, you should do that too. But yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, you should contribute to charity, but I felt like he was really putting the point out there that he donates to charity, and I feel like, what, did you just donate to charity because you wanted like the fame of it? I don't know. Like, it didn't really seem like it was coming from his heart, so that kind of bothered me. But okay, so the golden foolproof, like almost guarantee you'll get gains asset allocation is, grab a pen, 30% stock index funds, not random stocks. They really drove home on the point where you should buy index funds like S&P 500, NASDAQ, you know. And then 40% into long-term bonds, so the term needs to be like 20 to 25 year treasuries. And then 15% for intermediate government bonds, so which is a term about 7 to 10 years. And then 7.5% into gold and 7.5% into other commodities, whether it be silver or uranium. And I almost feel like with this almost recession that's happening in America and the huge drop on all the index funds lately, I feel like commodities is the way to go this year. So I'm definitely going to be investing into that. And if you're younger, obviously you can play with more risk. So with that formula, you can just put more into the stock market than the long-term treasury bonds, because those treasury bonds, sure, they're a lot less risk, but you're gonna make like, you know, 2%, 3%. And stocks, it might be like 20%, right? So also, I would say about this book is that it's not really like a beginner's guide to financial freedom. I would say that you need to be like at an intermediate level. Like, you need to know what compound interest is. You need to know what stock index funds is, because he doesn't explain those things. He gives advice on it. So yeah, buy stock index funds. Here's the funds. Here's the companies, and you know, don't buy mutual funds. So you need to know like a background for what those are already. Let's see my notes. Yeah, he really didn't like mutual funds. He said there's so many hidden fees and it just ends up to be not worth it. Say if you make, you know, a 5% return, then the fees might be like 3%. So really you only made 2%. So he said forget about mutual funds. And he said to try to save at least 15% of your money, whether it be every paycheck or every month. 15% of it goes into a savings account automatically, so you don't even have to think about it. Preferably even from your paycheck, you can organize with the company you're with or whoever that you're working with to automatically put 15% aside into a savings account. And in that savings account, it will be compound interest. So what that means is basically you're making interest on interest over time. So if you're making 2% per month, it's 2% that month, but then the next month is 2% again, but then 2% on your 2%. So it's compounded and compounded and compounded, and that's where it's the power. So he also said to get a fiduciary, which I don't know if this is an American thing, but I've never heard of it. And it's kind of like, instead of being a meat butcher where they're going to always recommend you meat, you go to a dietitian where they're going to tell you, okay, based on your body, you shouldn't be eating meat, you should be having fruits and veggies instead, or don't eat nuts, or, a dietitian will give you a broader outlook, which is what a fiduciary does. They're not like a biased company. So, oh, and he talked a lot about it's not just making gains in finance, it's also not losing money. And one of the cool quotes from Warren Buffett, he says, is rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. So I thought that was cool. So he said, in the stock market, if you're going to buy stocks, create stop limits. So, you have the potential of gaining however much the stock market goes up, but if you create a stop limit, you're only limited to that much loss. So it's just mitigating your risk. He talks a lot about, your problem with your finances might lie within yourself and how you're thinking. So I think that's a whole other course, and I think that's what he does, all those breakthroughs and stuff. So that's kind of like a different book, but he said, it might be how you're dealing with yourself, or your spending, or your saving, that it's in your mind that you need to fix. He talked about Ray Dalio said that in your lifetime, it's almost certain that whatever you're going to put your money in, there will come a day when you lose 50 to 70%. So you better diversify, because say you put 20 grand into cryptocurrency, and say it goes down for that 80% correction, well, now you lost, whatever the math is, $12,000 or whatever. So if you had money, sure, in 20 grand crypto, but then you had 20 grand in this, and 20 grand in that, and 20 grand in that, and then those made money, since you diversified, that gain will make up for that loss. So even though it was a huge loss here, you created like an empire structure of, it basically is undefeatable. Okay, the power of dollar cost averaging over time. Set it up automatically so that every week or every month you buy more stocks or whatever your plan is, or buy more treasuries, and because of that, the dollar cost averaging, you'll most likely turn out good in the end, because nobody knows 100% where the market's going to go. So if you just do dollar cost averaging, automatically put those through, diversify, then you're setting yourself up really safe. Also, with the asset allocation I was talking about, he also recommends that on at least a yearly basis, if not twice a year, so semi-annually, that you rebalance your asset allocation. So say crypto went up 10%, and now your asset allocation is, instead of 20% cryptocurrency, now it's like 30% cryptocurrency. You want to rebalance and take it back down to that 20%. So you take those gains, and say if you had, a loser that lost money, like say a stock or whatever, Netflix or Nintendo stocks go down or something, and then you lost money there, you take those gains and you make up for it there. And say if everything went up, then you can pocket it, or just reinvest all of them. But you have to spread it out and rebalance on a yearly basis, and that takes discipline. He also talked about like annuities and stuff, but I feel like that was for older people, so I kind of just went right over my head. So, oh, and another really good thing he said was, if a stock goes under the 200-day moving average, get out. Which is, I love like solid answers like that, but it's a general thing, but generally if it goes under the 200-day average, get out, because it's beating the trend, right? So you got to get out, and then if it dips, then you buy back in, and then it goes back up again. So that was my review for the Money Master, the game. 7 simple steps to financial freedom. Should I do the other books? I think I'm going to do maybe like a monthly book review, and then I'm going to have all my books that I review there, And then if there's just like a book that I really want to make a review for, I'm just gonna do it on like an ad hoc basis. So that was for my video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want any more book reviews or any requests on which books that I should read, feel free to let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye.